On Monday, racing lost one of its own. Rest in peace, Dean Holland. We've heard from so many in the industry throughout the week touch on Dean Holland. Our friends at SEN, Miles Fitzner, spoke so eloquently. Nigel Carmody from racing.com. It's hard for me to do what's surpassed any justice, but on behalf of Betfair, our thoughts go out to everyone involved, everyone who's known Dean, anyone who's crossed paths with Dean. It's such a sad time, and our thoughts go out to Hayden Kelly, his jockey manager, his wife Lucy, the 4 kids. Everyone who has crossed paths with Dean, everyone in the racing industry. McEvoys, Tony and Calvin. To friends and family, our thoughts go out to you. To the jockeys, how brave you are. It's an incredible feat to continue riding after what we've seen. Jump on a horse and to do what you do day to day. Bravery, it's incredible. The news has rocked so many, and Betfair Australia are thinking of all of you in these tough times. I welcome in Reece Goodwin, trainer who is well and truly part of the industry. Tough week. No doubt the news during the week has affected everyone, but how has it affected you personally?
Yeah, it's been really tough. Obviously a terribly sad week and day on Monday, losing Dean Holland, someone who I had a little bit to do with throughout my short training career. We'd had a little bit of success together. He'd only just recently ran second on a horse for me at Sandown, and he was booked to ride that horse again this week. So I'm hoping that horse can run well for Dean and everyone. But yeah, a tough pill to swallow for everyone involved, the whole industry. With Dean's loss, he was a terrific bloke. You didn't have to know him long to know that he was just a lovely fella, and it's just a really sad day. So feeling for his family, hope they're doing well. Everyone's been able to rally around as a community and contribute in the GoFundMe, which is now up over $1 million, which is just tremendous to think about. Obviously, we can't bring Dean back, but the best we can do now is just support his loved ones and his family, and it's just great that we've been able to set up this GoFundMe page and there's been so much support.
Well said. Tony and 𝘃𝗵𝗆 obviously will be feeling the effects of what's happened. I spoke to Cliff Brown during the week, horse trainer. He highlighted to me how, and I probably hadn't crossed my mind about the trainer of the horse as well and how tough they would be doing it. So it has a broad reach, how much this affects people. Yeah,
look, it's fortunate for me. I haven't been in that position, but no doubt it would be very tough for Tony and Calvin for Dean to have fallen on their horse. And of course, he had an enormous part in their success of recent. He was in there most mornings riding track work trials. He's had stacks of race rides for them. So no doubt, unfortunately, they would feel they had some type of part with it, although it was out of their hands. So it was just a real tough pill for everyone to swallow. But obviously those that were there on the day, it would have been even harder to comprehend. So hopefully everyone is in good spirits. And we just have to remember Dean for how terrific of a bloke he was. And yeah, just remember him.
Rest in peace, Dean Holland. On behalf of Betfair Australia, our thoughts go out to everyone, the family, jockey manager, trainers, jockeys in general. Our thoughts are with you. Thanks to Betfair Australia.
Hello and welcome to Layback with Betfair. My name's Nick Foote, your host for today. Joined by the A-team, we're back. Reece Goodwin, the Prince of Pakenham and the Baron of Betfair himself, Tommy Haylock. We've had a week hiatus, boys, a little bit of a freshen. Reece, I'll start with you, mate. How are you feeling after the freshen?
I feel good. I perform well off a freshen, I reckon. If you had stats on me, I'd be a good first upper, I reckon. I'm certainly not a stayer, so fresh off a sprint, I reckon, would go good. So yeah, good to be back. Good to have you two boys join me back again. It's good to have the originals back and looking forward to the weeks of racing.
Love it. And Tommy Haylock, you said you don't get out of bed for Hawkesbury, so you've enjoyed the week off, mate. Hopefully you've got some winners for us this week. How you going?
Hopefully. You weren't good on debut, so hopefully I thought deeper in the prep would be good for you.
I think the trainer's still trying to work me out.
I'm one of those really, blinkers.
Yeah, there've probably been 20 gear changes by now. Might need the ultimate one, I reckon.
Yeah. No comment there. Hawkesbury, I actually did all right last week, so shame we didn't have a show, but I was on my deathbed, to be honest. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Even if I had a stinker, I would have said that, so that's fine. Great to be back again, mate. It's great to have the A-team here.
Brilliant, boys. Well, we've got a huge show today because for the first time, I think, in layback history, we're actually going to preview races across 3 tracks. We've got Group 1 racing with the Australasian Oaks at Morphettville. we have a couple of listed races at Sandown to look at and also 3 races at Rosehill Gardens. But before we get into all that stuff, let's head into the lay bin, which is the premier segment on Layback with Betfair. And Tommy, what have you got for us this week, mate? I like to send you in early to send us in at the top of the order for the lay bin.
I've had a fortnight to think about this. Have you got anything for us?
No, I think I need to give. No, but I think I need to give my time to Nick because I think he's going to take a bit of time.
I know. I'm reading the run sheet.
I'm being kind here.
But
I'm being kind here. I may as well give my opportunity to Nick because I think he needs it.
AFL captains, in particular James Sicily, lay bin. He's come out and said regarding moving to Tasmania and potentially a new team there, he's come out and said in the media, there's not much happening down there. It could be difficult. I couldn't imagine myself living there. Now, who is Hawthorn's major sponsor?
Tasmania, the government.
So, James, you've just potted your major sponsor, Tasmania. That's not smart, is it? You can't make that stuff up.
I listened to this on the way down here.
Get in the lay bin.
He lined him up. He softened him up and lined him up. Poor James, he was just honestly speaking about himself and his situation. He's been... The Premier of Tasmania has sunk the boots in on Twitter.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a fair bit going on here. He's had to come out and apologise.
That's pretty dumb. Surely, that is dumb. You don't pot your major sponsor. That's like him coming and saying potting Betfair. Do you want me to continue or should I let you? I've got plenty.
No, I was just going to say, being a proud Tasmanian, I spent the first 23 years of my life in Hobart and there's plenty going on in Hobart.
Is there?
I absolutely love Tasmania.
What's
Beautiful
happening?
food and art scene.
Yeah.
And once they build that new stadium, mate, you build it and they will come. I'm a very proud Tasmanian, so that
Will you be
did
heading
hit
back?
a bit hard. I will. I'll move back to Tasmania at some stage in my
Will you?
life. 100% I will. Beautiful
It
spot.
is a nice spot.
I love Hobart.
No nightlife for James Sicily though, apparently. So
I'm not liking where this is going if Nick has to umpire an Hawthorn game.
No, it's not it. I'm just defending my state. I'm removing James from the whole conversation. Yeah. It's just this is a Tasmanian issue.
I've got a couple of others, but I want to hear you go first.
Yeah, so I'm putting lack of leadership in the lay bin from our team here at Layback with Betfair.
Geez.
So I've just got a few bones to pick, I guess you could say. So Tom, you're our premier form man here on the show. There's no doubt about it. But apparently you can't open a spreadsheet to put in the races that we're going to preview each week, which I've taken upon myself to do in my spare time.
You've announced yourself for captain, so this is the captain's job.
Well, look, Reece,
Yep.
I know you're our most capped member of the show. You haven't missed an episode this season, but your time management skills have been deplorable
That's fair.
throughout
That's
the series. And when
Very
you have
fair.
come to meetings late, you haven't even worn a shirt. So you need to lift. 𝗫𝗵𝗆𝗆, well, we just can't get him on the park. Miles Fitzner, well, he's too busy. I think he's doing a dual DJ set with Fisher at Live Golf, so we can't get him here. Rory filled in the form chair last episode, and he actually had 2 phones, which is a big red flag. Never trust anyone with 2 phones. And Carl, our producer, well, he's too busy trying to reinvent the rules of Australian rules football and change the deliberate rush behind. So within 4 episodes, boys, I've gone from a fill-in host to the spiritual leader and captain of this operation. So you guys need to have a bit of a think about your performance and perhaps just lift your game moving forward.
Fair enough. Yep. I'll take that. Fair bump. Play on.
See you guys, I'm off. How do we push on after that?
To be fair, I just thought I was here to find winners. So
Yeah, I know. Same. I got bumped from that chair to this chair. I'm doing my job. I've got a couple of others. Now, Mitch from Automation at Betfair's put 𝘃𝗵𝗀𝗆 in the lay bin. Now, I don't know about Mitch, but it's my only chance to get some.
he needs to speak for himself.
It's hard when you come upon 𝘃𝗵𝗆𝗆 at the footy and you're seated by yourself, though, Tom. That must be challenging.
It just sums up my life. And something came across my desk while I was on my way here. Glenn Ingram, he's in a chat group. He's Betfair's own, a content provider at Betfair. He's a good mate of mine. He got invited to play golf down at 𝗴𝗺𝗺𝗃 next week, and he said, no, I'm getting a private plane to 𝗴𝗺𝗺𝗃 on the Tuesday. I can't come. Now, Glenn,
Wow.
what happened to you? You're a man of the people. I need to look down the camera. Getting a light aircraft, he described. Get in the lay bin, Glenn.
I did not know finding winners off trials paid so much.
I don't know.
I'm doing the wrong job, that's for sure.
Betfair's paying him handsomely, clearly. Glenn Ingram, lay bin.
I love it. good addition, fellas,
this is
off
great.
the lay-in.
This
I
is
feel
great.
like we're off to
Reece
a
stood
fly.
up as usual.
We're off to a flyer. Yeah,
I'd cop
Reece.
that too, yeah.
Can't
Mate,
even
I'm
bring
a
a
positive
shirt.
person. How many times do I have to tell you?
Yeah.
I don't knock anyone.
Hey, enough of that. Let's move into the racing because we've got a little bit to cover and we are going to kick off the racing today at Morphettville Group 1 racing there. Rail is in the true position. It's currently a good 4. I'm expecting that, Tommy. Is that sort of your thoughts around the track conditions for Saturday?
Should be, yeah. 1 to 6 mil forecast Friday, which should be perfect surface. No dual track this week, mate?
No, that's a pet
easy
hate and a
lay-bin
bit of a
for you?
lay-bin of mine is these dual track meets. But yeah, it's a Group 1 meet, so let's have the course proper and the Group 1 track, my friend.
Yeah, so I think the surface will be perfect. I think they'll fan wider and wider as the day goes on, which they usually do at Morphettville. So expecting a good track and good day of racing.
Yeah, well, let's kick off proceedings in race number 5, which is the Group 3 Breeders' Stakes for the 2-year-olds over 1200. And Richard and Chantel Jolly's talented sprinter 𝗂𝗵𝗆 won this race last year. Now, the market has the Godolphin runner 𝗬𝗏 as a race favourite who won here last start over 1100. 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗏 on the second line of betting, who is just a walking bronze medal at the moment with 5 career starts for 5 thirds. And you've got local hope Harley and Rose, the other at the top of the market for Gordon Richards and Damien Moyle. Tommy, the map is key here to how this race unfolds. A few of these runners following a similar path through a 1100 metre race here a fortnight ago.
That is true. 𝗁𝗁𝗄𝗃 looks the leader. Buck jumped on debut, went sent around a short price favourite at the start and got into stride, had to work up and hunt up along the inside to take up the running. Has natural speed. Expect it to lead. 𝗫𝗍𝗫 might be the one to slip in behind, settle fourth in a jump out. Drawn okay there from barrier 7, might just work across and settle in behind the speed. So I think they're the two. Do you want to go first, Reece, before I dive in? I'm pretty bullish about this race.
Yeah, look, I think the favourite of Godolphins and 𝗃𝗃𝗃 probably got a handle on this. I'm going to go 𝗃𝗃𝗃 because they sort of mix in between behind She's All Shenanigans. 𝗃𝗃𝗃 got a mile off them the other day at Sandown. Drawn 1. I think 𝗁𝗏 want to be somewhat more positive than what she's been. She's been drawn awkward. I was on her at Sandown, so I was happy that she did run third because it was an old Nick Foot 1x3 play there. So I was happy with that. Probably just going with the prices more than anything. I think I might even have a Quinella bet those two at the top of the market. But I think 𝗃𝗃𝗃 with 𝗁𝗏 going on from an inside draw, they can be a bit closer, and that might be the difference between her finally breaking through and winning a race.
Might have a Tommy 3 play here. I think the two favourites are too short, 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and Harley and Rose. I want to be against that form line, to be honest. 𝗬𝗏𝗃 had the perfect run in transit, peeled off, leaders back. Harley and Rose still did a lot wrong and actually finished off on taking ground off 𝗬𝗏𝗃 up to this trip now, up to the 1200 metres. You've also got the other one that ties in that race, 𝗃𝗏𝗃, actually ran the fastest final 200 metres of the race. So he looks better suited at the 1200 than both of them. I know he's beaten a long way, but I can make a case that he lines up and measures up against those two. I want to be against that race completely. Tommy 3 play, I want to be with number 5, 𝗃𝗃𝗃. She maps to be a bit closer potentially from barrier 1, as you said. Brings different forms, super last start, charged late, ran the fastest final 200 metres of the race, getting back from a wide barrier. Inside's that little query, but has the 1200 metre grounding, which the others don't, can win. 𝗁𝗁𝗄𝗃, $1.90 on debut. Buck jumped, had to do too much work. Straight here interests me. I can make a case for 𝗁𝗁𝗃. And then 𝗫𝗍𝗫 is a filly that I really like the trial as well at Murray Bridge. So I want to back both of those, or all of those three, and be against 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and Harley Rose, maybe small A as well.
Awesome. 5 horses, Tommy.
I was going to say, surely get
Oh,
some type of result.
It's a hamburger with a lot.
This could stop his whole day. If
Could
one
be
of
a
these don't
hamburger
lob.
with a lot.
I'm getting on the front foot and I'm keeping it simple here. I'm with the form line that you're against, Tom. I'm going to be backing Harley and Rose in this race. I thought 𝗬𝗏𝗃 had the dream run last start, which you sort of prefaced as well when they met. And Harley and Rose was very good in defeat. Considering the leaders fell into his lap, had to come off heels, get going. I think the key difference here is Harley and Rose is drawn outside of 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and will be able to bowl along on speed leader or just in the 1-1 and likely keep the favourite on his inside. Third up, off of fresh and set for this race, will appreciate the 1200 metres. He's double the price of 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and I think he can turn the tables. So Harley and Rose, you're getting 460, 480 around that sort of quote for that.
So it has to be closer than heuristic in the market.
100%. Yeah. If you're following that form line, which I am, I can't get the two at that much of a bit of price discrepancy.
Self-interest, I hope you're right, Nick, because I had a little filly who debuted over in Adelaide, and she actually beat Harley and Rose and 𝗴𝗺𝗃 out of that race. Okay. 𝗫𝗵𝗶𝘀 come out of that race and was narrowly beaten at Mornington Saturday, and I put her in the paddock. So I'm hoping I made the right move. And actually, Sandown Angel as well.
Yeah, Stratton Angel.
Sorry, she came out of that race too. So I'm hoping you're right and you're wrong with the form lines.
Looks very smart.
Me more confident. Thank you.
Looks very smart, Stratton Angel.
Yes, correct.
Race 7, boys, is the listed Port Adelaide Cup over 2,500 metres. Craig Williams, your man, Reece, won this race last year for Gay and Adrian on board 𝗴𝗺𝗇𝗻𝗺𝗔. It's a very competitive-looking race this year. 16 acceptors. Long Arm, 𝗴𝗵𝗆 and Captain Envious all share the top of the market around that $5-6 quote. Plenty of value to be had outside of that. Tommy, 𝗃 𝗃𝗃𝗃, 𝗃𝗵𝗆, 𝗃𝗵𝗆, they all look to be the key speed influences in the race. How do you assess this one?
Yeah, spot on. I reckon 𝗃𝗵𝗆 probably leads, kicks up from that inside barrier. 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 rolls across from barrier 13. 𝗃 𝗃𝗃 slots in somewhere behind them. They are the three speed factors, I agree. Very tricky race. I don't like staying races in general.
Got a long tail to it, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
You don't want to be strung up in traffic.
I think there's value to be had, though, if you're willing to shop outside those top ones in the market. There's a lot of value here, but they're horses that are probably going to need find their best again in this race, which I might touch on later, Tommy, as well.
That's the way I looked at it. I didn't like anything in this race, so I went looking for a bit of value, and I ended up with number 13, Smiling Assassin, off a 2,900 metre Oakbank win, if you don't mind. Still showed a turn of foot at the end of 2,900, which was interesting, off a fast tempo. It was a really high rating race. Drops to 54, gets 𝘂𝗂𝗃 on board, positive jockey change, draws inside. Might be back, might need a bit of luck, but it's a huge price. You'll get 50s Betfair. I could entertain. The only query you go through, and 𝗃𝗺𝗺𝗆 ran second in that Oakbank race, and it started 300s in a Adelaide Cup and got beaten by the ambulance.
And he's here too, is that
He's
right?
here as well. He's 100 to 1, so I could actually... He'll probably be 300s Betfair again. So I could have a couple of dollars on him and just hope that might be a decent form line. And they're down in weight. I think 𝗃𝗺𝗺𝗆 drops 7 kilos. The one I'm tipping, Smiling Assassin, drops 5. So just to throw up the stumps at a couple of value, I'm not keen to really be involved.
I'm going to go 𝗃 𝗃𝗃𝗃. I think this is probably just the form outside of the obvious. If Long Arm's sort of $5, comfortably beaten 2 back at Bendigo in 84 grade, and then he did put them away in Adelaide last start. But Dixie Whistler and Sabona and that have been going around in some, fair to say, ordinary races over there in Adelaide. So if he's well on the market, this is a fairly thin race. 𝗃 𝗃𝗃𝗃 brings some different form. Obviously well beaten by Deny Knowledge, but I think that race, that Country Oaks rated through the roof, didn't it? The winner of Mick Kent's went out terribly hard and just ran them into the ground. Third up, I think the form from the Sydney run, Gin Martini, Pink Ivory, all those horses, I think ties in really well for a race like this. Going to go forward with Froggy on, no weight on her back. She's got form up over this trip overseas. I think that's the different form line, and we're getting closer to double figures, so probably a 1x3 bet. And if Horrifying can get anywhere near his best, he's right in this, but you'd have to put a line through the last run. You could say he maybe didn't handle the wet ground, but he'd handled it before, so that was probably a poor excuse. But thin race, so happy to be on 𝗃 𝗃𝗃𝗃 at an each-way price.
Yep. I found this race really challenging, so I'm just going to have a small each way on 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. I think the old boy for Sue Murphy's a sneaky chance here at a big price. You get around 18s for him on Betfair. He only raced the once in 2022, but his third up runs prior have seen him win races at 2,400 metres. He's run third in a 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and third in a Geelong Cup. And I know it's been a little while between drinks, but he's running the Terang Cup over 2150 is a nice platform for this race to improve upon. So you don't have to have a lot on. It's a very low risk, high reward bet. So 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 each way for me in the Port Adelaide Cup, fellas. Race number 8 is the Group 3 Chairman Stakes. It's for the 3-year-olds over 2,000 metres. Dalasan won the race in 2020. 2021 was Royal Mile, and 2022 Jungle Magnate won the race for Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. And they look to go back-to-back here with a smart gelding by So You Think called Loco. 𝗃𝗏𝗎 brings a Group 1 ATC Derby placing to the race as well for the Busselton and Young camp. And Ain't He Grand for the Mar Eustace team also brings some strong Sydney form lines coming through that Group 2 Tulloch Stakes and the Group 3 Packer Plate with form around 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and Pericles. I'm interested to know, Tommy, how you're assessing this one. And I've got a question for you, Reece. I'll hold off. But Tommy, I want to know how you're assessing this race first.
Found it pretty tough, to be honest, mates. I see on the run sheet you guys are pretty bullish. I don't want to play thunder. Red Sun Sensation. Pete Late had to work really hard to get into that race. Between the 400 and 200 was a really good split. Fastest on the meeting, which is impressive.
You can visually see it too.
Yes.
It looked like he really let rip and then obviously too far off him and sort of
He just peaked. Yeah. So he ran the fastest, obviously he ran the fastest between the 400 and the 200 of the day, fastest of the race. But his final 200 metres was only 6th fastest of the race. So the data says that he just peaked on his run as well. But it still was the 10th fastest final 200 metres of the meeting. So he still ran okay.
Just comparative to the race.
He just levelled out. I query that he'll need this again. That's my query with him. I would have liked to have seen him up in distance now off that. Just hit the line a little bit better. 𝘊𝗂𝗽𝗽 ties in, obviously does so favourably. He's a horse with upside, gets blinkers on first time, which is interesting. You've got 𝗂𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗧 back in the Oz Derby, an absolute dawdle. That was the slowest run race I've ever seen. They went 14.4 lengths slower than class average. It's a real sprint home. To do what he did was fantastic. He's rock hard fit now. Comes off a class race.
You're going to be in a similar spot from one, maybe?
Yeah, that's the query. Back to 2000 off a 4-week break, afterthought. And 80 ground has upside and blinkers back on. So I've found it a very messy race, boys.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned there about afterthought and afterthought versus set plans. So you've got 𝗂𝗵𝗂 here who, as you mentioned, comes through the Group 1 and then this is obviously just the horse is going well. Is it a throw at the stumps? How do you assess this when doing the form and what's your take on it as well, Reece, as a trainer?
Look, as afterthoughts are generally a bad idea, so to speak. They generally are because your first thought of mind is, generally you want to have him peaking for one run. But he's probably fortunate that it's a 4-week gap and they've had time to get him home, see how he is, prep him sort of back up in a way. Look, it's certainly going to be tough to do, but he's probably the right horse, probably down at the right camp too. They have tough bred horses that win races like this. So yes, definitely an afterthought. I'd done it, Hopkins that I'd made a best bet. He was a sort of set for a Cranbourne race and then as an afterthought, I backed him up, which was 3 weeks in a row in a rich race at Geelong, and he still ran well, so I probably got away with that. But you just got to, treat every horse differently and see how they come through it. But they're probably, with the travel from Sydney back to Melbourne, lucky they got the 4 weeks back in trip across to Adelaide. It's not easy to do, but it might work out okay from them.
From a betting perspective, I think we're both siding with Red Sun Sensation. Reece, I just through that loco race, Tom, you said it all in terms of that fastest 4 to the 2. Look, I think, big tick to 2000 for me. I think Craig Williams jumping on another big tick and I think he can run a big peak here. So and at 16, 17 bucks, like when you're looking at loco through the same race who's $2.70, you can have a little bit on again. I think there's value to be had at Morphettville.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, with you there, footy. Red Sun Sensation. Gee, that got me.
Yep.
just on 𝗂𝗵𝗂, clearly the best handicap rating horse. Obviously comes through the right races, but at 90 handicap rater, 20 handicap points higher than number 2, 80 grand, carries the same weight. So if he is here and the market might tell you at Betfair.com.au, if he's here with a bit of market support, I'll be with him.
I think the weights can get in the bin.
Especially with these lightly raced 3-year-olds.
Yeah, I guess so. Never again ran in that 𝗂𝗵𝗆𝗆 race a couple of weeks ago. He was 31 points disadvantaged to 𝗃_𝗃. So basically like he couldn't get near and he got beat 2.5 lengths. So
yeah,
I think you can look into both. But I guess in your own age group would certainly make a bit of a difference.
But they still have so much upside, these horses as well, so they haven't found their mark. It's more important if they were 5 or 6 year olds and had 20 runs.
I think Moods, you queried the fitness with Moods, but he wouldn't have missed this horse. If this was the race they were going for, he'll certainly be there fit enough. Willow jumps on. Middle draw, I think they'd want to be a bit closer than what they've been lately, without getting him out and having him do too much early. But there's a huge price discrepancy between him and Loco for what they were last start. Loco had absolutely every chance. He needs these blinkers to win a race because he obviously is struggling to put one away properly. I think even when you watched it, he win his maiden at Pakenham. Oh, he actually won well there, sorry. I was thinking he struggled to even put a maiden field away. He looked like he'd been running up to them, not going past. So at the price discrepancy, I was happy to go Red Sun Sensation each way.
Yep. Well, let's move on to the feature on the card, boys. Race number 9, the Group 1 Australasian Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies, 2,000 metres. Glint of Hope won this race last year, and in 2010, Dean Holland rode his first Group 1 on Small Minds for John Thompson in this race. It's quite hard to line them up here, boys, for mine. The top 4 in the market, which I'll go through quickly, just bring different form lines. She's Fit around 650 for Daniel Morton is aptly named because she's 7th run this preparation, been racing in very good order in Western Australia, winner of the WA Oaks before placing in the WA Derby, or Derby as they say over there. You've got to be tread very carefully with Western Australians around that language. Arts at $7, won the Adrian Knox on heavy going, then Ed Cummings paid up for a 7-day backup in the Australian Oaks. Does she need rain-affected ground? That might be a question I'll have you answer, Tommy. 𝗴𝗺𝗃𝗃, whoever named this horse should be sent a please explain. I think,
𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃 or something.
It's a 𝗃𝗃. I actually listened to the bloke from First Light Racing today, and I can assure Brett Davis butchered it last start. Won a maiden 2-back and then ran an enormous peak figure in the Port Adelaide Guineas last start. In the right camp.
I'm going to go home and cry today too.
Well, just let me work through my gear here, all right? In the right camp of 𝘂𝗵𝗆 and David Eustace to improve again. I believe, actually, 𝗴𝗺𝗃𝗃 means a case to follow in French. There you go, there's the translation. Jenny Lala at $8 is on the 4th line of betting, same camp. Also requires a bit of a please explain, say that 10 times real fast, but last start winner of the Aurelia Stakes. Tommy, over to you.
Yeah, well, obviously, Jenny Lala beat most of these last start in that form line. Beat 𝗴𝗺𝗃𝗃, Amphina, Raven, More Reward, Rich Result ran 8th. Is it the right form race? That's what you've got to work out. If it is, Jenny Lala's the only horse I want to be on, unless maybe Raven gets a start, but I don't think she will, third emergency. So Jenny Lala was 13 up to 800 metres there. Big ask off a 17-day break. Did what she did. She was fantastic. She won superbly given the negatives. Draws well, hard to beat. She's Fits fascinates me. Hasn't got the ratings at all to suggest that she's anywhere near this lot, but she's been running well. She's fit. Her win 2-back, she couldn't have run ratings because they just absolutely walked there. It was a race. The query is she didn't exactly charge home. She ran just slightly faster than class benchmark home off a ridiculously slow tempo. So that's a little query. Stable know how to travel their horses really well. She's rock hard fit. You go back 3-back at 2,200 metre win. Might be a better gauge. She won well. She brings good form, upside, good jockey, fitness. She ticks the boxes. She fascinates me. Arts is another one that I just have no idea what to do with Arts. If you give that second up run, she could be a really good horse. Obviously, you go 2-back off that Adrian Knox wing, she could be an absolute superstar. And then she was just plain last start, in distance.
What about from a track perspective? Like, she obviously just got through that going in the Adrian Knox, and it was all pointing, she's a swimmer.
Correct. So she could be an absolute swimmer, and she could just need a bog to prove her best. But yeah, I just don't know what to do with her. I'll be playing 1, 2, and 3. One of those 3, I think, wins. I just don't know which way I'm going yet.
Yep, I'm completely staying out of this race from a betting perspective.
Yeah, same
myself.
here. Yeah, it's too hard. Can you boys? How do you pronounce the 10?
𝗴𝗺𝗃𝗃.
Yeah. Should it be 20s?
Considering
it ran on well behind.
It ran on well behind Jenny Lala.
Yeah.
I just think Jenny Lala off that, what she did to win that start, she was 13 to 18 off a 17-day break. It was pretty hard to do. I know the stable do it well, but...
So you think she can platform from there on?
I think she has to go to the next level. If she won that race, and I previewed the race at the time, if she won that race, the horses behind her won't beat her again.
Yep.
And that's how I'm seeing it. And obviously the market's
I'll remember that.
Yep.
That's good.
Just on a side note too, $500,000 prize money, like not to be sneezed at, but when you got 4 Group 1s only in Adelaide, like,
and you pot in the SAJC.
Well, you look at the little dance in Sydney. This is the race for the race for the horses that don't make the big dance. That's 500,000, and you got a bloody 775,000 slot race in Rockhampton. So if you got, you want to pump your Group 1s up in your status.
So you want to give more money to this field?
Well, you get a better field if you get better money.
I'm not sure you would.
Okay.
I'm not sure you
They're all tied.
All right.
They are. I'm tired doing the form for this race.
Jeez, my lay bin is getting full. I need to
You
tie up the bag
had a bad week
and
or
take it
something,
out.
right?
No, I just like to bring things up as they come to mind, Tom. That's what it's
He
all
just
about.
speaks his mind as they pop up.
Exactly right. That rounds out our card at Morphettville. It's time now for our back to school segment. This is where everyone gets to learn a little bit about everything great that Betfair has to offer. And today we're going to focus on in-play trading. And Tom, first of all, straight off the top, what is in-play trading?
Yeah, we're talking about horse racing mainly now. Betfair allows you to bet in play. So when you have a bet before jump, you can actually have the option to say keep in play, close at jump. If you keep in play, the race and the odds will stay there as the race runs. You can also bet in play. There are different platforms to use. You can use third-party apps. You've got BetAngel, Grass that help you increase the speed. You can bet in play as well. So great tools. You'll find people on the track. You'll find people listening to radio, at home watching Sky Channel, whatever it might
Hopefully
be.
not with Terry calling.
Well, the radios. It actually highlights the importance of race calls as well for people. Then you probably don't actually appreciate how much race calls, how important they are. There's so many different options. There's so many different strategies. A common one is to if you know who's going to lead a race, they usually trade a little bit shorter in the run, so you can back them before the jump. If they find the front, they might trade an $8 shot, might trade $6 if it finds the front. Stuff like that. Alternatively, if you've got a back marker and you know it's going back, you might get a couple of points longer just because it's going back anyway.
Yep.
So you can be smart about it that way and take the price in play at a couple of points longer. There's different ways to do it. A lot of people think in-play trading or in-play betting is literally taking $1.10, $1.20, $1.30 about the winner at the 200. Everyone has different strategies. You can do that. I've heard from a couple of in-play guys that bet early in races just based on map. So they look at how horses have mapped, alternative to how they think they're going to map, take the price then, just be smart about it. There's also different ways to skin a cat.
Yep. It's very difficult to be able to do off the screens as well, particularly with streaming now. I'm about a furlong and a half behind.
It is tough.
And on my streaming service, so I wouldn't be able to do it.
even further, and it's been a huge issue for a lot of people. And
Would you recommend not doing it if you're doing off a screen?
It is hard.
Yeah, because you've got to be pretty quick with your hands too, don't you?
Be quick with your hands. That's the beauty of BetAngel and Grass and third party. They make it quicker.
Yep.
You can actually set up your screen so you can bet quicker. It is hard. It is hard now.
Is on course
but
best way to do it?
there's nothing faster than watching it with your eye.
Yep.
Your screens at pubs and clubs are quick because they get a commercial feed.
Right.
You've also got on track, the live feed on track is quick as well. So you can actually watch the screens on track as well as the races as well. So many different ways to make money. You could just do it without watching and just do it off map.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great insight, Tommy. And well, that rounds out our back to school segment. We'll head to Sandown Hillside now, where I expect to see Tom with his binoculars in the stands this week with his in-play trading all up to scratch. And weather and track conditions, rail is +3, currently a good 4, some showers on the drive here. I don't know what this all means. Tommy, tell me how the track's playing.
Should be okay. 1 to 6 mil forecast on the day, I believe, as well. So if you get 6 mil, it might be a soft. If it gets 1, might be fine. Expect Hillside to play pretty fair. Lakeside's a bit later-ish. Hillside will play fair. So big straight, fair track. It's a good surface to bet on.
Yep, well, let's get straight to race number 8, which is the listed VRC St Leger for the 3-year-olds. Over 3,000 metres. Allegron won the race last year through Irish Eyes, won in 2021, and Sacramento in 2020. Now, respectfully, this is probably the worst edition of the St Leger I've ever seen. You've got Midnight Glow at the top of the market for John Salonitri around 330. Roaring Engine for Danny O'Brien and Jai McNeil. That combination are no strangers to winning at 3,000 metres and beyond, and then winning bid at $6 sort of round out the top 3 in the market. Boys, talk me through a 3-year-old 3,000 metre race. What are some things that you want to see in the lead up to be able to confidently get involved as a punter? And Reece, what sort of boxes are they ticking at home for them to be successful in this type of race?
I'd love someone to put up a market on how many of these will actually finish. This would be a good
We'll
one.
see what I can do.
You just mentioned Danny O'Brien and Jai McNeil. This horse ran 4th at Kyneton 3 starts ago. I had one that ran 2nd in it, in a 58. This is how bad this
why
race
isn't yours running here?
Because it's 6. Might have something to do with it, mate. This is for 3-year-olds. 𝗴𝗺𝗆. Setting back down pretty quick.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah, tough race. They're all coming through similar form lines. Yeah, hard to get involved here. Well done to whoever wins it. You're doing well. Whether they win another race after this, you'd probably say no. So I'm happy to hand it over to Tom and see if he can do something better with this race.
The favourite's $3.30. It's 1-1 race from 13 starts. A Benalla Maiden over 1,600 metres. How is this possibly a listed race? I might get out the track and give these a run for the money. You would. You're pretty fit.
Yeah.
You could run 3,000.
I thought he was knocking up the other night.
Yeah, 3-minute case.
You thought he was knocking up?
Yeah, I thought there might have been an interchange in the umpiring.
Well, when at gather round, I invited him out after, and he was too gassed. Didn't come.
Had a big one.
Just
on the field.
The body.
He's too tired.
Mid-30s now, boys. It doesn't.
Tough life.
It gets a bit harder as you get older, believe it or not.
I've got no idea here.
I was going to say, does that wrap up that race?
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Well, I'm not, because if we're going to sit here and pot it, let's actually, put our money where our mouth is. So I'm going to have a lay.
Good.
Bet in this
I
race.
like this. I like
so
this.
I'm going to lay winning bid to place at around, I think $2, $2.20 on the fair, somewhere there. She's by Fastnet Rock. Now you don't see too many.
This is a good narrative from you.
You don't see too many of his progeny get out over the 3,000, over the 3K
You got those
mark.
stats, have you?
I do. 1.5% of runners get out over 2,400, and 0.6% of those go on to be winners. So I like those odds, Reece. So I think don't confuse slow horses with wanting further. This horse will not get the trip. I'm going to lay winning bid to place in the St Leger.
Brilliant from you.
Can't wait to crop that up.
That is brilliant from you.
Yeah. Race number 9, boys, is the listed anniversary Vase. Are you going with Vase or Vase?
Vase.
Okay.
Can I just make a suggestion? If you do want to bet in that St Leger, not a bad strategy. Just lay a few things, lay the top 3 favourites and cheer the rest on.
What about betting in play?
We can bet in play, bet the leader, whatever you might want to do. But you could. That's the beauty of Betfair and laying, because I'll probably do that.
Yep.
Stuff taking $2.80, $3 about a horse.
You can see one at the half mile pulling up to a trot.
Well, do it now. $3. The favourite's $3.30. It's won a 1,600 metre Benalla Maiden.
Yeah.
We're going on a listed race over 3,000.
To be fair, I'm struggling to win one of them, so I probably shouldn't talk.
There'll be a few ear massages going on a K out, I'm sure. Race number 9, boys, the listed anniversary Vase, 1,400 metres. Regards Marie won the race last year. Bill Ryan's mare, Still a Star, won in 2021 for Tassie, represent, and 𝗀𝗄𝗄 in 2020. Cardinal Gem here is your race favourite for Graham Begg. Last start winner, goes up 6 kilos on that run, but is a 1,400 metre specialist. 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗆 on the second line of betting gets her opportunity at listed level. Lady of Honour at 750s, ready to peak third up. Cherry Tortoni also the same price there, will be rattling home first up for Paddy Payne. And there's always going to be a little bit of speed injected in a race when you've got the likes of Buffalo River and Lady of Honour. How are you seeing this one unfold, Tommy?
Yeah, Buffalo River probably needs the rain to come. Imperial Lad works cross from barrier 11. Lady of Honour kicks up, keeps them honest, and Soldier of Love just slots in the 1-1, I think. 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗃 is a horse with a bit of speed as well that could put a bit of pressure on from out wide. Tough race for me. I'm interested. I went looking for 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗃 down the bottom there. Looks set to peak third up. Did enough last start. Cardinal Gem. Barrier 1's a little concern for me. How the track's playing come race 9 is going to be a key interest. I think one of those two win. I reckon 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗃's the play at the moment, but I'm not too keen to dive into Reece.
Yeah, with you there. I think she's going to get the beautiful run. She should be probably 3 pairs back outside Cardinal Gem and have Cardinal Gem where Jye McNeil will want to have Cardinal Gem where he can make a move where he wants. She drops 5 kilos in weight, gets down to the minimum third up. Second run at the 1,400, she was under 2 lengths behind 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗃 first up, where she was very good. She battled it all the way out of the line with good and proper with the big weight. She looks to set the peak in this race. She handles all track conditions. So yeah, that type of price, you're happy to go each way with her. I think you'd be pretty safe there.
Yep. I'm going to back Lady of Honour in this race, boys. I just think this is a much more suitable race. Last start in that Victoria handicap, we saw a ridiculous early tempo up top with the likes of Buffalo River, Call Sign Mav, Forbidden City. And out of all those speed influences, Lady of Honour was the one that stuck on and was super. Now, Cardinal Gem and Frankie Pino, who finished first and second respectively in that Victoria handicap, they benefited from that tempo. So Lady of Honour, she's third up here, ready to peak, gets 3.5 kilos off Cardinal Gem from that run. I think it's a really good bet. And in saying that, I'm going to lay Cardinal Gem in this race as well. So I'm going to double down. I think he's toxic at $3.30. Got the gun run last start behind that hot tempo that I just mentioned. Drawn the paint, so we'll need some luck in running. Up 6 kilos on that start. If it is a good track, has never won on good going as well.
So
if we're on a good 4, well, you're going to have to tick that box as well.
And you probably have to drift in the market if no rain comes.
But at $3.30, that's a lay for me, boys.
I like that. You're going for the hamburger with a lot.
It is the hamburger with a lot.
See if you can pull it off.
Yeah, low carb bread, I reckon, for me.
Takes a good man to pull off the hamburger.
Watching myself. That rounds out the two listed races at Sandown, boys. So we'll head to Rosehill.
No one could see that.
Yes, well, they could if they're watching on Spotify video or on the Betfair website. Rosehill Gardens now. Weather and track conditions. Rail in the true. I didn't check this morning. It was a soft 6 last night. Bit of rain to hit race day, which is always a concern, Tommy.
Yeah, perfect weather leading into Saturday, but some showers forecast. Bureau of Meteorology just sitting on the fence again, obviously. A little bit...
Whack.
A little bit different to...
I thought we'd leave that to Nick to do that.
Yeah, I think so, the drive-by, so I'll leave that to the experts. Randwick gets more rain than Rosehill out the Parramatta way, but I think it's 1 to 20 mil. So we could get we could get 20 on Saturday. Who knows? Typical Sydney. Even when they don't predict rain, it rains. So.
It's a fair sample size, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 to 20.
Well, at least the bloke's covering his bases.
Yeah,
he can't be wrong.
I can't lose here.
If they get 0, he's in a power strike.
They get 0 or 30, lose your job. Interestingly, they haven't raced at Rosehill since March 25, so it has been over a month now. I reckon it'll be on speed, especially if the rain doesn't come. On speed from the chute as well. Inside barriers up on speed might be favoured early and the chute starts, but watch the rain, watch the pattern throughout the day.
Yep. So no black type to cover at Rosehill Gardens on Saturday. We're going to take a look at 3 benchmark races, and race number 5 is a benchmark 88 over the 1200 metres. You've got 𝘃𝗵𝗄𝗆, Hellfest, Vowmaster, Dashing Legend and Fox Fighter. It's pretty much $6 the field. Thomas, how's it unfold?
Thomas, against 𝘃𝗵𝗄𝗆 here. As favourite, just at the price. Can win, but just, I think, shouldn't be favourite. Nice gelding, good racing pattern, winning strike rate, ticks a lot of boxes. Does have to carry 𝘂𝗵𝗶𝗆.
He had one at Hawkesbury, didn't he?
He's actually...
Was that provincial during the week?
Yeah, he might be warming up. I don't know, getting himself ready for another Everest.
Couldn't get colder.
Barrier 10. I don't want to back him as favourite coming off a 5th of 9 at Eagle Farm. That's my concern. Did a bit wrong, slowly away last time. Looks short enough against some nice horses. Fox Fighter, quick backup, paraded beautifully last Saturday. Had something on each way and naturally runs 4th. Fastest final 600 metres of the day and 200 metres of the day last start. So Savage the line up to 1200 metres suits. Brilliant return. I just want to see, I just mentioned the track pattern, 1200 metres. Like you may get a race 5, may have no chance. So just watch that closely. Dashing Legends, the other one I can make a case for as Vowmaster as well. So I'm against 𝘃𝗵𝗄𝗆, laying 𝘃𝗵𝗄𝗆, Dashing Legend, maps well, up on speed, race fit, will be around the mark. Probably your 1x3 play if you're keen on something to play, so he'll run well. Vowmaster, the other one, J-Mac on, but looks short enough for me for a horse that hasn't done a lot of potential, hasn't won for a while, but that's how I'm seeing the race against 𝘃𝗵𝗄𝗆.
Yeah, I'm backing on that potential of Vowmaster. Horse who won his first 2 in Victoria, so I've had a little bit of a tag on him to follow him. He's been, fair to say, fairly disappointing since. Trolled the house down, I thought, in both trolls.
Has done that throughout his career.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, this must be the type of horse he's been trolling in earmuffs, and he will race in earmuffs. But generally they're a gear change that can almost switch a horse off too much, but he's still well and truly into the bridle with them on. So they'll definitely have to ride him somewhat quiet, maybe just try and blend in and find a spot. So you've probably got to be careful on how the track's playing and whatnot. But if he shows up at his best, he's certainly going to give a race like this a good shake. I think he opened up double figures too, so you're obviously not interested in the price, but considering the money come early when markets went up, he might maybe get out a little bit more later on the day.
It's the J-Mac tax earlier in the week, I think.
That's right, yeah. And, you know, visually he is going very well. You've got to see him do it.
I reckon he got gelded, might have been before last, probably had that big layoff, 87 weeks off, and he might have been gelded, came back last week. I would have loved to have seen him win a race before diving in.
Yeah, and you would probably, you look at his form and all his form's on good ground. He's only had 1 heavy track run. I don't think the track will get to heavy, and his 2 trials have been a 5 and a 6. So he has got through softish ground. So Might maybe wait until late, see what the track's doing and see what price he gets to. But I think he's the horse with the most ability in the race.
Yep, it sounds like we're all sort of sitting on the fence a little just to wait how the track's playing, which I think's fair given how Rosehill profiles when there is some rain around. And I'm going to be doing the same with Hellfest for James Cummings. Sit and watch just because she's drawn 1. I'm not sure where Rails in Run gets if there's a bit of rain, but she's a ripping mare for Godolphin. She's struggled with any continuity in her racing to date, but she can produce a big figure fresh. So I am concerned with that potential rain around on race day. She has won on a 6 before, but she's drawn 1. If the inside chops up, I think she's cast. But I'll sit on that and I'll wait and see when we get to race 5, fellas. Race number 6 is a benchmark 88 over 1,800 metres. It's a tricky looking benchmark 88. This. I'm interested to see how they sort out their order here over the 1,800 because there looks to be a little bit of speed on paper. You got Navajo Peak, Quality Time, Ida, Lakeen, Silent Agenda, Mystery Shot and Shameless Miss. They can all go forward. So even Warning from 1 will probably want to be positive too, Tommy. How did you sort of read that?
This is an awful race.
This is probably, as captain of the layback team, I probably have to put my hand up here for putting this one in the run sheet, fellas.
I wrote in my notes, not sure why we're talking about this.
Yeah, no, it's
Great.
Someone had to show a little bit of initiative and fill the sheet out, which I did. So I'm not betting.
But there is a winner in every race. Now, I reckon
not that 3,000 metre 3-year-old Sandown.
Not your 6-year-old. Navajo Peak, I think, is the speed in the race. I think leads, there might not be any chasers. Literally, there might not be anything that is good enough for the turn of foot to come out of the pack and beat Navajo Peak. Is horse with really winning form, upside, has tactical speed. He could lead, and as I said, he'll be up there on the bunny, and there might not be anything coming out of the pack to run home. He's deserved favourite. I went looking for Solar Apex, now fit a second up. 𝗄𝗵𝗆𝗆 on inside barrier. Strong between the 4 and the 2 last start. Peaked late, second up, 4 weeks off. I like that profile for this horse. But Ida ties in and has since been pretty poor, so that put a negative spin on that. Honeycreeper's the other one. Hasn't won since, COVID. Done some good stuff in her career, but doesn't win often. Coming off some stronger races, I went looking for her too. So if I'm keen to play Navajo Peak, maybe watch the market. Walla, Solar Apex and Honeycreeper.
I went looking for Navajo Peak, but just, with the speed engaged, barrier 12, Karen, that you touched on last race, it was a bit of a...
It's got the favourites in race 5 and 6.
It's a bit of a red pen for me. Reece, are you getting involved?
Oh, no, leave me out of this. There's 13 runners, 10 of them haven't placed their last start. Two of the 3 that have placed are double figures, so that leaves you with Navajo Peak. With a great {𝗁𝗁𝗃𝗁} on it. Interesting.
He's just got to stay on, I reckon.
Interesting Solar Apex, just knowing Chris Waller's profile with what he does with horses. No trials in between the run you mentioned being over a month ago. I thought that was interesting.
I think
maybe a busy horse that keeps itself fit.
I also think this horse goes well fresh. And I think this, she hasn't won for a long time, but this is his go, right? Second up, freshen up, inside barrier, just watch market. If there's any money, I'll be jumping on.
Cool.
Yep. Race number 9 is a benchmark 100 over 1,400 metres. This is the last race we'll cover at Rosehill, and this is the best race on an otherwise average Rosehill Gardens card, I think, fellas. But hey, you can't start forever. We've been a bit negative here, but we have been treated to some outstanding group racing at Randwick across the championships, and what goes up must come down. So, those days allow us to have these ones. But Democracy Manifest here is your race favourite ahead of Joe Pride's Coal Crusher at $5. Always gives a sight. Loves the sting out of the deck. Then you get out to Wild Planet and 𝗀𝗃𝗃, I think is the correct pronunciation, at $9.50 and $10 there respectively. Are you boys keen to get involved?
Yeah, Reece.
Democracy Manifest was my get out of stakes. Was it 2 weeks ago? God bless.
Agreed.
Going to go around him this time, and I think Wild Planet with J-Mac on is a very good bet. If you go back not too far long ago, he ran 4th in the gong behind Riadini, 4th behind Old Flame. He is a little bit of a non-winner in older age, but J-Mac on soft draw, he gets through soft ground at that type of price. It's just the J-Mac factor really interests me. I feel like he didn't have many options in this race, and he's actually pinpointed one that is probably left the field for him. He doesn't ride a stack for Hawks. He's going to get the right run and just happy to be on each way. Typical each way bet for me. 1/3.
Are you going to save anything democracy or just?
Maybe on the day. Maybe
Yeah.
on the day, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the market plays. And then obviously late in the day we're going to know how the track's playing as well. It was a good win, Democracy Manifest, but he did get the right runs up the fence.
Yes.
But he did win well too. You couldn't take much away from him, but he certainly wasn't as if he had things did not be in his favour and he still put them away. So just at the prices, typical me, happy to go to the one with a bit of value.
No, I don't mind it. I will tip Democracy Manifest on top. He tips himself. He's hard to go past. Made him a special first up, and glad you found him as well. Ducked up the inside. Perfect run at transit, and as you mentioned, he did run the fastest final 200 metres of the day, second fastest 200 of the day, fastest final 400, second fastest final 200. Moreira sticks with him. Moreira's become almost the go-to for Waller at the moment. J-Mac might be on the nose a bit. He's a winner second up in the past.
Shaking in his boots.
1400 metres suits. He might be a better freshie. He's won 4 from 5 first up, Democracy Manifest, but he trialled well. I think he's a great order. I don't want to lose if he wins. I'm with you. I think Wild Planet ticks so many boxes. Now, I'm laying 𝘁𝗁𝗃. I don't think 𝘁𝗁𝗃 can win. Cruised around in front last time, went 7 lengths slower than benchmark to the 600, just walked, had every opportunity. Wild Planet could not do any more than he did.
He is known for doing that, Wild Planet, though.
He
If
is.
you go through his
He
record.
is.
Are you set on a 𝗁𝗁𝗃 lay bet if the track's playing leaderish though?
No, and that's why it's hard tipping on a Thursday for a Saturday. 1400 metres is a bit different. If this was a shoot start, I'd be very nervous, and I don't like laying leaders at the best of times, because especially late in the day. But as you said, Wild Planet ran 23.8 home final 400 metres. His second up fitter against J-Mac, 1400 metres. He ticks so many boxes now. The J-Mac factor does interest me. I want to have something him, and I don't want to lose if Democracy Manifest wins the race. I'll be having a Tommy 2 play, and that's fingers crossed.
Yep. If they're making ground, I think Democracy Manifest is the best bet on the card at Rosehill. Excellent return, as you mentioned, Tommy. Tick, second up to 1400. Tick, drawn 7 with tempo engaged. Tick, and the Magic Man. Tick. I think it's a really good bet, Democracy Manifest. So that's where I'll be playing if they're running on at Rosehill. Rounds out our preview so far, fellas. So we might head into our best backs and our best lays for the weekend. And Reece, we're going to start with you today.
I know.
We'll go around our best backs, then we'll go around our best lays.
Okay, no problem. What is my best back? Interesting one. This one left for field. Geelong tomorrow. A nice little maiden that I've had a little bit to do with. Private Jumbo. What are we? Race 2, number 7. Prices aren't up yet. I'm thinking he won't go up much of a price. He ran a slashing. He's still a maiden. He ran a slashing second in one of those 𝗿𝗏𝗏𝗏 races 2 weeks ago, where weights weren't in his favour whatsoever. I'm guessing he's probably going to be, if he's anything north of $2, you're doing very well. I'd probably just wait and see if you can get close to $2, but he's going to be very hard to beat from a nice draw, that's for sure.
My boy 𝗿𝗏𝗏𝗏's on board as well.
Correct.
Tommy, your best back for the weekend, mate?
Pretty bullish in the same race we just touched on. Democracy Manifest and Wild Planet. I think one of those two win, and that's how I'll be attacking the race. I'm keen in the Breeders' Stakes at Morphettville, 𝘁𝗵𝗄𝗃, 𝘁𝗵𝗄𝗃 and 𝘁𝑚𝗠𝑑𝑢S. You're getting about $5, $8 and $15 for those three. Bracket those up. Lay heuristics, my lay of the day.
Yep.
Same race.
Perfect. Eagle Farm race number 8, the Group 2 Victory Stakes, is going to be my best bet on the weekend with Private Eye at about 240. So the Everest runner-up stepping out at Group 2 level in Brizzy looks just so well placed under weight for age conditions. 1.9 lengths off In Secret in the Newmarket, giving her 6.5 kilos. And then just a big forgive run for me in the TJ. I think he just beats these.
Is that Eagle Farm?
Yes, Eagle Farm. Yep, correct.
The weather good up there?
Yes, at the moment.
Because they scratched him from wet ground.
But it's such a good drying track,
yeah,
Eagle Farm.
On
So
race day, it'll be good for it.
I think the race good. There my best lays for the weekend, as discussed in the show, Cardinal Gem at Sandown for all those reasons, and then in the St Leger, winning bid to place is my other lay.
Like it. I'm going to Morphettville, race 8, number 3, Loco. Just way too short for a horse that had every chance last start. He does get the blinkers. He's going to need them, and he's going to need Ollie to get him over the line. So I thought it around the sort of 250 mark. Happy to lay him.
Well done, boys. It's been a bit of fun today. I'm sorry for getting on the defensive early and being a little bit angry. I think you guys have already lifted your leadership qualities as the show's gone
Don't
on.
suck
Well,
up
the way
now.
you talked us down, we couldn't have got any worse.
I was just trying to just make sure I can come back next week and you guys forgive me. Hey, all the best this weekend. As always, gamble responsibly, and looking forward to joining the A team again, hopefully next week. We've got 𝗴𝗺𝗹𝗆, so we're touch and go at the moment. We'll work it out.
God knows where we'll end up
as the week goes on. But have a great week, everyone, and all the best.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.